Actually, my comparison for him last year when I thought he was coming out was kind of like a little undersized Chad Pennington.
Wow.
Was actually my comparison for him. I just thought about that as I'm on a Jets show.
It's NFL Combine Week, and our draft coverage is kicking into high gear with Yahoo's Nate Tice. We're talking the Jets landscape in round one, some trade scenarios, and which prospects are elevating their stocks. Now boarding begins in 3, 2, 1. Nate, let's start right here at the top. Let's do a mock draft. You have the Jets' number 2 overall selection. Who should the green and white take?
Oh man, I think they have to go defensively, and I don't want to overthink it. Just go Arvell Reese from Ohio State. We had mock drafts. We kind of been rotating which defensive player we've been plopping on the Jets, and really how it leads to that way. This is an interesting draft class where there's not a lot of the best prospects, or maybe not the positions that you usually associate with maybe a top prospect, or the top prospects all have maybe a little bit of a blemish that maybe wouldn't put them up in the top 5 or a top 10 in a typical draft. But Reese is not one of those players. This is just a very, very good and very dynamic defensive player. Obviously, the Jets traded away a few of their dynamic defensive players very recently. It's not a one-for-one replacement of Quinnen Williams or Sauce Gardner, but it is a guy that you can build around, and a creative defensive coordinator can really unlock him. But I do think he is scheme-proof in the sense that he fits in a lot. And also, this is a complement to what the Jets do have. I think they have a very young, talented offensive line. I think they have an interesting receiving room with Wilson and Mitchell. That also there's not like a receiver at 2 that I could justify taking for the Jets there. So I think this is also, it's kind of an Occam's razor pick, just the simplest one, the best player at a position of that is going to be a need, and it's a dynamic player worth building around. So I would go with Arvell Reese from Ohio State just because of how dynamic of a player he is.
What separates him from a Reuben Bain or a David Bailey or a Caleb Downs, some of the top defensive prospects in this draft class?
Downs, I'll start with him. His teammate, he's kind of a back 7 version of Reese, where he can line up in a few spots and impact the game. It's a safety, which is a particular player in maybe a better defensive situation or a different defensive situation I like better. I still think defensive play and really offensive play, really, and personnel and team building should start with the trenches. And Reese is an off-ball linebacker, but he can play on the edge, and he can be used in multiple different ways. So Aaron Glenn calling plays, if they want to change up how they use the scheme, he can live in man coverage. He can live as a blitzer. He can live as an edge rusher if they want to go in those looks, which a lot of teams do with their off-ball linebacker. Compared to like a guy like Bain is I think a very good player. Just has a couple size things. His arm length is going to be a big discussion. Where I think he's going to be a lot of good. Where he's good against the run and good against the pass. Where Reese I think has more excellent to his game, just a next half tick above, a little bit more dynamic as a player. And then even guys like David Bailey from Texas Tech. I think David Bailey, I appreciate what he is as a pass rusher. He's going to be deficient as a run defender in the NFL. And I think the Jets, who already have Will McDonald on their team, already kind of have that type. I think Bailey's a little bit better as a prospect, but that's the same type of player, what they call a DPR, a designated pass rusher. While a guy like Reese is on the field every single snap, can impact the game, ways that don't affect the box score always. But the fact that he can, no matter what the scheme is, no matter what his task is, his assignment, could be a plus player, that's more exciting to me.
How much does position depth or strengths in this draft class have to factor into the equation for GM Darren Muji when he turns in that draft card at number 2 overall, if he indeed makes that selection there, as far as, hey, I do have a pick 14 selections later?
Oh, absolutely does, because I think even now being on the media side, I've done so many mock drafts and I do so many mock drafts, but actually they're a great learning assignment. It's nice little homework for me, because then you start seeing when the runs happen at positions. And I think like the receiver run will start happening in the teens. I think the corner run will start happening maybe right as we get to like pick 8. And then we might get a little squeeze from 8 to 20 on corners. And then after that, then it kind of goes away. Offensive tackles, I think, are going to start going off the board more commonly, like the late teens into the 20s. Might change, as we see, as the combine's about to happen, guys might get boosted up just a little bit. But, those runs absolutely matter. And the depth of these positions absolutely matter. Obviously, quarterback is number 1, literally with Mendoza, but also there's none after that. So that changes everybody's equation. But you look at other positions like receivers, there's a lot of depth at receiver. There's a lot of depth at edge, different flavors too. There's a lot of depth at defensive tackle, more in the late first round, again into the early second. So that's where I think the Jets are in a position where they could start a run, if that makes sense, at a position where they can kind of maybe get that first or second selection at whether position they deem they want to take in the teens.
Yeah, your colleague at Yahoo, Charles McDonald, picked a receiver for the Jets at number 16 overall. Do you think ultimately you could see that happening as well? And how do you separate these top three guys?
Oh, man, a receiver?
Yeah.
Oh man, oh man, I would even go four. It's
Okay, who are
hard
the
and now
four?
Casey can. Okay, we'll go. Well, for me, my number one is Carnell Tate. But I have these guys squeezed really tight. There's not like a big, the grade is the same more or less as far as how I do grades. So I have Carnell Tate as one. He has a lot of Reggie Wayne to his game that I really like. He's long. He's got great ball skills. Number two to me is Denzel Boston from Washington, because that's a true X. And a true X is a 6'4" guy, can win isolated. He was their punt returner. He's not going to be an all crazy yak guy with the ball in his hands, but he's a red zone weapon. And it's not just, oh, he's 6'4" and he can do it. It's like, no, on film, there he is coming down with the ball, dunking on guys, good players too. I don't know what his actual ceiling is, but to me, it's like this guy is at worst a really good number two in your offense and maybe a sneaky number one. And then number three to me is Jordan Tyson from Arizona State, who has injured probably every CL possible. But he's very twitchy. He has some similarities to Garrett Wilson, maybe a little bit bigger, but as far as play style, twitchiness, there's some similarities there. And then four to me is Mekhi Lemon from USC. I have a little bit more qualms with him than other people I think do. I really want to see what his combine measurements are, because I think he's a little undersized. And I think he's a slot only type player. And just like continuing conversation we just had with Reese, it's about how many plays you can impact, especially at receiver. And if you have limitations to me, oh, we have to put you in the slot. We can't line you up outside. We have to put you in motion. That dings you in my brain. And how I evaluate guys. So that's how I look at the top four. Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M would probably be five. And I mean, there's a lot of receivers on day two as well. But those are the five to me that I could see being as top 30 players, I'll call it.
As far as the draft is concerned, how do you view a non-premium position like running back, and how should the Jets specifically look at a guy like Jeremiyah Love, who's a threat to take the ball to the house every time he touches it? And a lot of people, Nate, as you know, are saying, hey, this guy's the top prospect overall for me.
Oh yeah, he's a top five guy to me too. It is hard sometimes to like talk out both sides of your mouth when you're talking big board and where they go in the mock. It's just that the floor is so high for running backs now. As far as that's when people say running backs don't matter. That is not true at all. We're seeing how impactful running backs can be. Running backs just have to be able to have real value. You have to be on the field for every down. You're talking about impacting downs, pass protection, receiving back. But I always think it's fascinating when guys like safety or running back, like how you value them. It's certain teams, it's just like, yeah, go for it. And then like the Raiders last year taking Genty, I thought that was a terrible pick. But if a couple picks later someone took Genty, I would have not squinted at it as much, because it's just the team makeup and what you're intending to do. So yeah, it's kind of, I wouldn't say eye of the beholder, it's situation of the beholder a little bit for running backs.
Nate, let's do a little wheels up, wheels down, and talk about some of these prospects, where you think their stock is headed. Sonny Styles from Ohio State, the impressive linebacker.
Yeah. Oh, up. Wheels way up. Yeah, he's just awesome player. This is a great linebacker class. I already talked about Reese, who's kind of his own thing. But then Styles is what you want a modern off-ball linebacker to be. And I think if he does test, he'll test well. His size will be good at the combine as well, but his stock's going up. I think the league likes him. I think Twitter analysts like him as well. I like him. He is a top 15 pick to me. And I think that's going to happen too. So yeah, wheels way up, stock up, however you want to put it. Sonny Styles, very good player.
How about a safety from Toledo, Emmanuel McNeil Warren? That guy was a playmaker in the collegiate level.
Yeah, it's up. His stock is up. To me, I've seen kind of both kind of like where his stock range is, and I might be the middle guy on him. I view him as maybe like if we're just ballparking a prospect, like range 26 to 35 kind of range, late first, early second, 20 to 40, we can call it. That's how I view him, but his stock is up, and I think he's going to test well if he tests. And I mean, I don't know where Toledo keeps finding these guys. But you know, Quinton Mitchell stepped on like he was playing from Alabama. He goes to Philly, and it was just like, wow, okay, great. But I think where he has the size and the speed that someone's going to fall in love with him. And I kind of sometimes you read between the lines where how other national people are talking about certain guys, and it's kind of like, okay, this guy has some hype, so it has to be coming from somewhere, a team or something. So his stock is up. His wheels are up for him.
You were down in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl. What did you see from Garrett Nussmeier? And is he a guy who potentially is raising up draft boards right now?
He is, because Nussmeier has been a known quantity for a little bit. It was last year, even he was battling for me for quarterback one until he went back to school with Cam Ward. He's older, he's a little undersized, and he's been hurt. He can be a little reckless with the ball sometimes as far as like how aggressive he is, but I still really like him. So I just want to get the negatives out of the way. He's a guy that I've joked with Dane Brugler from The Athletic, who covers the draft, does an amazing job. When we talk about Nussmeier, is he's a guy we keep waving away red flags. Oh, he's undersized. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. He got hurt. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. He didn't start till his junior. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. He's older for his year. It's fine. It's fine. It's just because when you watch him, he was so banged up this year. Their offensive line was bad this year at LSU. The coach got fired. The receivers were not what you think of LSU receivers, and he's just surviving and playing. He gets banged up, which again brings up his size limitations. But then he has a Senior Bowl that it's like, if you're optimistic about him, that's exactly what you wanted to see. He's a coach's kid. He's tough. He's a decent scrambler, like I would say, an above average athlete who can just get the simple yards, the simple first downs. But actually, my comparison for him last year when I thought he was coming out was kind of like a little undersized Chad Pennington.
Wow.
Was actually my comparison for him. I just thought about that as I'm on a Jets show. So actually, yeah. So kind of like a smaller version of that. Chad was a little bigger than I think people realized. And but just kind of play style, accurate, pushing the ball, knows what he is a little bit, not an overwhelming athlete, but okay. Gets the ball out quick, coach's kid. There's a lot of comparisons. I have him what I call a late second, early third round grade. He'll be around that kind of player 50 range. But him and Ty Simpson from Alabama, I kind of have grouped the same in that kind of range right now.
Well, you just made him more intriguing for me. I got to watch some more film on Nuss. Because Pennington, I'll tell you what, coming out.
He's one of my favorites ever. I love Chad Pennington.
How about Caleb Banks from Florida? He's a guy, did not play a lot of games last year, was injured, and then he goes to Mobile and he looks unstoppable, and he's got this athleticism for being such a monstrous specimen.
Yeah, I think he had 35-inch arms. Which is nothing to sneeze at. Huge hands. Banks is one of these guys. He's hard to grade for me because I see the flashes and I see when he's dominant and everything, but he's a older prospect that's been banged up, and it's just flashes. But the thing is, it's very exciting. It's the stuff you want to see. It's dominant reps. It's not just flashes of good. It's flashes of true dominance. So again, you get into this draft, I'm telling you, because there's not a lot of true what people call first round graded guys, 8 to 10, and hopefully a solid draft. There's about 14. A couple of years ago, there's about 18 in the 24 draft, give or take. That when we get into what I call the green range, which is usually picks 20 to 40, it's going to become a lot of, again, eye of the beholder and grading to the flash and grading to projection and grading to what we see. And I think that's what's going to make it really interesting in April. But Banks is one of these guys that I understand if you buy into him. And I think the Senior Bowl did him such a good service in showcasing how dominant he can actually be. And he has traits, and he has a little production that you can point at as well. So I'm high on him, but I don't know how high I can get. But he's a guy I'm going to comfortably have in the 20s range, and I could see him go. He's one of these guys that can go higher than I think people are assuming right now. And I could see some of the swell building up right there. But Banks is, definitely stock up because it's just what he did in Mobile.
So Banks is a monster. D'Angelo Pons out of Indiana, more of a smaller guy, but he plays like a giant. What do you think about him?
Love him. Again, I am kind of the guy that grades to size and traits, even at quarterback. I do, because it's a physical game and it's a game. It's a combat sport, and combat sports use weight classes for a reason. And then, but the thing is, why I'm saying all that is Pons is awesome, and he's a guy that I'm willing to break some of my thresholds for because of his play style, how smart he is, but he is so aggressive as a tackler, is a great tackler as well. Like, doesn't miss a tackle for an undersized guy. Again, when you can point at that as, again, sometimes guys need projection and, okay, these plays happen, these stats, okay, stats are pointing some good things. But when you watch a guy and how they have to win in the NFL, like everybody has to win differently. Pons has showcased that he can kind of overcome his size because he's so smart. He's got great ball skills, great awareness to kind of trigger on stuff underneath. So the guy that I've kind of compared him to is Kobe Durant for the Rams from the last few years. They're both about 5'9". I think Pons will weigh in about high 170s. And that's what exactly what Durant weighed in. Durant came from South Carolina State and was a fourth rounder. Pons obviously played on the national champions Indiana, so he has a little bit more hype. So Pons went in the fourth round, or I'm sorry, Durant went in the fourth round. Pons I view as kind of a top 50-ish guy. Again, early second round somewhere, or some way, shape, or form, where you can't just wave away like I just did with Nussmeier, the size stuff, but his play style and how smart he is, and he's going to be a good athlete, even if he is undersized. There's enough to like that you can, again, wave away some of the size kind of concerns.
Nate, let's build the perfect quarterback prospect from the 2026 class. You can't use the same guy twice. We're going to do 5 traits, starting with arm strength.
Oh man, Drew Aller. If we're Drew Aller from Penn State, we're just going arm strength, and not where the arm is going or the throw is going, but just sheer arm strength. Yeah, we'll go with Drew Aller.
I love it. What about accuracy?
Fernando Mendoza, maybe Garrett Nussmeier, but I would say Fernando Mendoza because his ball placement's just exquisite and his sense of timing with the ball placement and everything. So I would say Mendoza.
How about mobility / rush ability?
Oh, Traylon Green from Arkansas, who's built like Randall Cunningham, runs like Randall Cunningham, but he's not Randall Cunningham. But he is a guy on day 3. If you want to throw a dart, I get it. There's not many guys that are 6'5", 230, can runs like a gazelle. His throwing motion is a little wonky. He has moments where he does look okay. But yeah, Traylon Green, probably just sheer athleticism if I had to pick one guy.
Now, Fernando Mendoza might have been your top overall pick on this one, but what about pocket presence?
Oh yeah, that would have been Mendoza. I would actually even throw Nussmeier in there as well. Nussmeier's pocket presence is pretty dang good. You can tell he's a coach's kid, in the sense of like he understands timing, and when to get the ball out, when to hang in, and then push the ball. He kind of just has that nice feel for it. And again, he's a little older, so probably that helps us too, just having those reps. But yeah, if I did have to pick one, it would have probably been Mendoza because his pocket presence is pretty dang good as well.
Every quarterback has to have the it factor. How about intangibles and leadership?
Jalen Daniels from Kansas actually has like some intangibles to him that's kind of fun as just like a gamer. A day 3 guy that I think is intriguing as a day 3 guy. Again, undersized, pretty good athlete as well. I mean, he was helping Kansas win a lot of games, which really helps. They have good coaches, but that helps as well.
There's your perfect quarterback prospect from the 2026 class. Yeah, I like it, Nate. Let's have some fun right now and get into some scenarios. Trade up, trade down. The Jets have a ton of capital. You're looking at the 4 picks in the top 44 this year. You got the 3 first-round picks next year. We know that. Would you, if you're Jets management, if you're Darren Muji, call the Raiders and inquire about the number 1 overall selection?
You have to. Just that's your job as a GM, is just turn over every stone and do your due diligence and just see and just be like, hey, would you guys be interested in just moving back and like, are you gonna? It's the Raiders. You never know. You never know what they're thinking. So I think, but do I think the Raiders move off of it? They shouldn't. They should absolutely not. They have a nice, solid, good answer. I like Mendoza a lot, and like I know there's questions like what his ceiling is because he doesn't look like the sexiest player, like what we see with Josh Allen or something like that. but man, he's just a good prospect.
Nate, what would get you to move off at number 2 overall? What if one of those teams behind you said, I need Reese. I got to get Bain.
Yeah.
Maybe it's David Bailey for another team. What would get you to move off at 2 if you're Mougie?
How far back am I moving would be the first question. But if you could keep me inside the top 12, this is where you can get interesting, because then you can start doing stuff with next year's picks. You can add to that grouping, because not only just quarterbacks next year, it's a deep class in other positions too. There's some receivers, there's some edges, there's a corner from Notre Dame that's really good. Like, there's a lot of good players next year. So I'm kind of like that's the one you want to like stockpile. So if I don't know if you want 4 first-round picks, but I think if, say, you move, I'll just make up a team who's aggressive here in the top 10. Say the Browns want to move up from 2 to 6. I think I think you try to get more middle picks next year, or even the draft after that. Because I think you're kind of stocked up this year. What do they have? They got 2 first, they got 2 1, 2 12, and then they go to the 4th. So maybe if you want to move something into the 3rd, so you can kind of fill out that round, do something. But I would say you need at least a 2, and then maybe a 2 the following year. So what I'm saying is a couple mid-round picks. You're not as likely to try and get that first-round pick because you already have 3. There's only so many rookie spots you can have. Actually, the Jets had a year like this. Didn't they have 4 first-round picks in like 2?
They did.
The Chad Pennington draft.
That's right.
Chad Pennington draft.
There you go. Pennington, John Abraham, Anthony Becht.
Yes. And
Sean Ellis.
Done okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is fun, and I know you always got to find a dance partner if you indeed want to go to the dance. But the Jets are sitting there at 16 overall. Nate, you've spoken about there are not 16 first-round grades. Right. What would you consider as far as moving back up from 16? Drafting at 2, and then you're watching the draft unfold 5, 6, 7. What kind of guy would you, if you're the Jets, get back up high into the top 10 in order to make another selection?
I mean, one of these, I think they should really focus on defense. And that's what's kind of fun for, I do really mean this, not to like wave away the question, but it's like they are sitting in a nice spot where that run might happen at some of the spots that they might select corner. I'm kind of thinking of, I would say the highest I would move back up is maybe to 12 or 11, one of those 2 spots, because I think that's the breaking point. That's when we're going to get to the next crop of guys, or grades, I should say. And then that's when you can maybe get the pick of the litter. Say Ruben Baines is there at 12.
Yeah.
Well, 11. You move up. Get him. I don't think he will be because of who's picking before that. But like that one makes sense. So it's like it really becomes depending on one of these guys. I don't think they should go for a Jeremiyah Love or Caleb Downs. I think they're settled at offensive line.
Yep.
And I think receiver-wise, the receiver run's going to start where they're picking. If they're really excited about a guy like Keldrick Falk, who I'm more bullish on than most other people. But again, Falk might just fall to them. Like they really are sitting in a good spot at 16. And I really mean that. Like I think picking between 12 and 20 is actually more ideal to me than picking between like 3 and 8. Because it's kind of a game theory kind of thing. Like what other teams make the mistake on these guys with blemishes, and now we can really get the guy that we like and prefer from this crop.
It's time for our final boarding call. Give me a day 3 prospect that stands out to you above the rest that you think is going to have an excellent NFL career.
Oh man, tight end. Oh man, there's some tight ends that I really like.
Okay.
I don't know where their range is. Justin Jolly from North Carolina State is one that I really like. Jack Andres from Texas is another one. These are like 3rd, 4th round types that might just boom up. Delp from Georgia because he can play inline. These guys, those type of tight ends can actually outplay their position or where they're drafted because of how much, again, impactful snaps as a blocker, as a valid receiver.
All right, Nate, we're going to give you the virtual whiteboard right now. This is your red star time. You are a scout. You're going to the draft room right now and saying, this is the prospect that the Jets have to have. Whether it's realistic or not, this is the best prospect in this draft for this team at this time.
I mean, Arvell Reese is pretty hard to like pass up, man. That's when you might get the number one overall player at 2. That's a pretty good boon right there. And so he's one that I have a huge start. And really for the Jets, I look at corner and one of either Mansour Delane from LSU might not be a perfect scheme fit for Glenn because he likes to run so much man coverage. I think he's better, more of a zone guy. But even a guy like Jermon McCoy, that guy I mentioned from Tennessee, those are the guys to me make a lot of sense for the Jets and where they're picking and the spots that they're picking at. So if I were saying I'm starring these guys, it would be Reese and then, I mean, maybe Sonny Styles as well. So it'd be, if I did that, it'd be Reese at 2. And then with my second first round pick, if I can just narrow it to those 3, like Styles, McCoy, and Delane, one of those 3 is there at 14. Okay, we're taking one. If all 3 are there, okay, now we got decisions to make. But I think of those would be the 4 guys. If they can come out with 2 of those, I think that's a really good draft for the Jets. And it's a perfect BPA for team need, for also whatever scheme you play in, that they are going to fit no matter what you want to run.
Nate Tice, that's outstanding analysis. And we'll be listening to you on Football 301, your podcast. Also, we'll be following all your mock drafts up to the draft on Yahoo.
But no, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.